There's definitely certain places in the world that are much easier to have a better dating life, depending on the type of woman you're looking for. It's difficult for me when I'm in Miami. I have a great time in Miami, but I find it very difficult to meet high quality women that I can pick as a wife or as a girlfriend. It's not necessarily what I'm looking for when I go to Miami. Excuse me while I smoke this mini cigar on a Sunday, but I felt like having a smoke and making this video because I spent the weekend in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach. Got a very good friend here who's very well connected to a lot of the big players in the game here, and it's such a beautiful town. And we went out, and just by the quality of the women that you meet, you know straight away that these are much better type of girls to hang out with. They come from good families. There's less temptations in a place like Palm Beach. The problem with a place like Miami is that there's a shit ton of temptations. And it tends to be these big cities like the Miamis, the Dubais, the Londons, the Paris, which are proving quite poor for quality dating life. Now, you can probably find a lot of hot girls and hot models in those places, fair enough, which is why a lot of rich men flock there. A lot of rich men live there because that's where they make their money, right? And the hot girls flock to those places because they want to meet rich men. It would make sense. If you're a hot 9 out of 10 girl, where are you going to hang out? In your small town in Louisville? Or you're going to actually try and go to the big cities where you can potentially meet a wealthy man, open up your opportunities for business, for life, for work. Here, my friend lives on a golf course. How beautiful is that? That's a country club golf course, hole number 7. So there's so many more temptations for those girls in those cities once they get there. All these wealthy men throwing parties at you, throwing all these cool things at you, inviting you to dinners. Hot girls in Miami don't have to pay for dinner ever. It's insane. They've got to pay for nothing, in fact. Sugar daddies, older guys will just pay for everything, especially if the girl is super fire. And I know that because when I talk to those super hot girls, you find out their life situation. You're like, oh, I see what's going on. But ultimately, when you go to places like Palm Beach, even Bucharest, I'm not saying Bucharest is necessarily a small city. It isn't. It's a big city in Eastern Europe. But there's much less temptations for women in Bucharest. And it's got this more traditional conservative values because religion still exists there. See, any city where religion exists is a good city to date because they're going to have better values there. They're not going to be as slutty. They're going to be more feminine. They're going to be embarrassed if they make stupid moves like go out and get drunk and cheat on you because they'll be disgraced by their families. So those sort of cities that are still religious are still the best cities to date and to find high quality girls. The places where I hang out, Cannes, south of France, Dubai, London, Miami, these are money circles, and I'm here because it advances my business, and I'm here because I enjoy these places and I make very good connections. And I'm here because the parties are fun and, you know, the biggest people in the world come to these places. And I like hanging out in places where I can connect with wealthy people, intelligent people who conglomerate in these small cities. But that has made it more difficult to date in those cities. So the cities that are actually better for business have become really bad for dating. It's crazy. That's the trade-off that we're having to deal with here. Then when I go somewhere like Bucharest, where the girls are fucking stunning and amazing and super loyal, I mean, I spent 7 months in Bucharest in 2025, and I had 2 girlfriends on 2 separate occasions who were both lovely, feminine, and sweet. I've spent about 9 years living in Miami back and forth for many months a year, and I've never had a girlfriend in Miami. That data point right there alone tells you all you need to know about Miami life versus Bucharest life. I truly believe that I'm the best at this because I've traveled for so long and got such a good experience when it comes to these things that I can coach men on where to go to find the best women on the planet and how to act. Because most American men are struggling to find good quality women. American women have become, have fallen into this feminist trap. And it's just it's not their fault. It's also our fault as men. So it just makes it more difficult to date high quality girls in the big cities in America, where a lot of my subscribers are going to be based. A lot of my subscribers tend to be men with money. They're going to live in New York, London, Miami. I've noticed recently that my subs actually have good businesses, make money. They're all pretty ambitious guys, which is great. So I want to meet more of you guys. Just met another one here in Palm Beach, actually, this weekend, Benjamin. So ultimately, boys, I know you want to make money. I know you want to live in the big bad cities, and so do I. But your dating life is going to be tough in those places. So just remember that if you're actually looking for high quality girls, many men have said this in the past, And I would agree with them. You just don't realize that because you haven't had the chance to go to those places and meet those kind of quality women. But when I went to places like Belgrade in Serbia, Bucharest in Romania, Kiev in Ukraine, Moscow in Russia. A friend of mine just moved from America to Moscow. And he speaks Russian. He's going to be having a good time. He's meeting high quality, beautiful, feminine women. So when you go to those sorts of places, which are more off the cuff, not the big cities where all the money is conglomerating in the world, you're more likely to find down-to-earth people who are religious, because religion still exists in those places, who you're likely to have a better, loving, loyal relationship with, where you can have kids and build a family. Now the issue becomes, and the catch-22 is, I don't want to have a family in Kiev, Ukraine. Neither do I want to have a family necessarily in Moscow. But I have to find the middle ground. So for me, I did say that I potentially thought about having kids in Bucharest, having a family there, and being able to travel to these amazing places. So for me, the way I'm doing it is I'm going to try and balance it out between these countries. But that will become more and more difficult in the future. So I have to start thinking about a clever way to organize my life now. Will I settle down and find one place and build a life with certain types of women just because they're in those cities? Or will I continue in the big boy cities because my business means more to me? For me, I know the answer. For me, it's a balance of both. I'm a well-rounded, balanced individual, so I don't feel like I need to necessarily stay in Miami, Dubai just to make money. I like spending time in Bucharest. I like spending part of my digital nomad time in those other cities where the girls are very sweet and very feminine, because I still also enjoy those places. So balance is the answer for me. If you don't know the answer for you, book a consult call with me, DM me, we can have a conversation about this. My consult calls are usually well structured, and I've helped so many men now pick the right cities for them to go in because they're stuck. They're stuck in big cities in America. They're stuck with shit dating lives. They're not getting any value out of their women, and they just don't know where to turn.